So, good morning, everybody. Apostolos, thank you very much for the invite to come here and talk to you. Now, the ones who have followed me before and have heard me before, presenting, you may know that I'm a bit radical and I a bit deviate from my presentations. Nevertheless, before I start, I would like to make two remarks, and then we will talk about safety and enhancing crew welfare on board, etc., etc. First thing, year 2024 was a record-breaking year for crew abandonment. Crew members remaining unpaid, abandoned in various ports around the world. That's the first remark, and food for thought. The second thing is that, being part of the loss prevention team of the UK P&I Club, I did an exercise for the policy year 2023 about crew accidents on board, costing the club more than $5,000 US. So we saw that during 2023 policy year, there were 236 serious accidents on board vessels. Now, this is one IG club, being the UK. There are 12 of us. So you do the maths. We have more than 2,500 serious crew accidents on board our vessels. Those cost more than 5,000. Then there are countless others, minor accidents. And some of them are not reported as well for various reasons. So now, having those things in mind, let's start. Sorry. So, enhancing maritime safety and well-being. This is what we're going to discuss. I will go to the next slide. So, building a strong safety culture on board. So, what is safety culture? A strong safety culture represents a collective commitment within an organization to prioritize safety above by ensuring that it is incorporated in all daily practices. And first of all, it starts with leadership commitment. We all see in our systems, SMS, ESG reports, some bold announcements, safety first, we want your first, and this is what the management wants. But is this true? Do really management commit themselves to safety, or it is just another tick box? Food for thought. Continuous training and education. Yes, we all spend vast amounts of money training our crew members, but is this training enough? Is this the training that crew members want? There is a study, is not being published yet, but it's going to be published soon by the University of Aegean, and I had the privilege to go through it, saying, they asked, I think, 1,000 seafarers, Greek seafarers, about the training they receive, throughout their seafaring careers, and what they thought about it. And more than 60 or 70% said that whatever they are trained for is irrelevant and obsolete. Food for thought as well. Open communication. Do those comments, do you actually hear your seafarers? In the briefings, when they come back from the vessel, you have the post, let's say, trip debriefings. Do you hear them? Do you hear their problems, their issues? Do you give them the opportunity when they are on board to let you know what's going on board? And yes, you may have the mechanism. Yes, you have your we have our fancy checklists and our fancy hotlines. You call the DPA whenever you want. There's a big poster there. But still, when somebody calls the DPA, when somebody calls to the office to report a problem, is this problem taken into consideration? Of course, recognition and reward systems. Again, those things, they do exist. The mechanisms are there. Our industry is very good in, making checklists. We are a checklist industry, aren't we? Yes, it is there. But is it truly implemented, or is there only for the various TMSA surveys or post-state controls or dry ship controls or whatever, right ship, or it is actually works and actually assists our seafarers' well-being. So you will note that the importance of psychological safety is paramount, I would say. Why? Because it makes our vessels go better. You know, as Apostolos and Mr. Tsavliris mentioned before, you know, things change. Things are not the same like when I started. I started being at sea back in the 90s, completely different era. I'm Gen X, I think. I was born in the 70s. Yes, eh? So Gen X is completely different than this current generation. And the thing is that we have never leaned towards their needs. What do they actually want? Mr. Tsavliris, unfortunately, they are not romantic anymore. We used to be romantic. I went to the sea because I come from an island. I was born in Athens, but every summer I was in the sea, in boats, in sailing boats, in anything you can imagine. So sea for me was the way, was the path, because I loved it. Nowadays, people do not go there. And why to go? When I used to be on board ships, we used to go, let's say, to a port, Paranagua, Brazil, and stay there for 15 consecutive days. Same vessel, 2 days loading. And then you have another 45 days or 50 days trip to China. And then you spend 10 to 15 days at the anchorage. And then you go into a place in the middle of nowhere. And then you discharge the cargo within 3 days. And then back for another 50 days trip. Why me? I'm a 25 years old guy. Why to go to the sea? Money? Question mark. Back in the days, we used to go on board, come back to land and buy an apartment. That's true, Mr. Tsavliris, do you agree with that? Nowadays, what you buy? I'll make you something. Greek captain on board Greek flagged vessel, in the pocket, 80,000 euros per month, per annum. Let's make it 90,000 euros per annum. Is this enough to spend 8 months on board? Food for thought. Career path. What is the career path for the youth? What's the future? Is there any future? So, psychological safety. Crew welfare. Mental health and well-being. Yes, again, we all have now on board our ships those hotlines, you know, to call if something is wrong. Does this work? Can we measure that? Yes, it is good to have somebody to talk about your problems. But at the end of the day, do the office know what's going on? Do they do something to make the life better? Physical health, yes, okay. We do have gyms on board, we have programs, etc. Good living conditions. Yes, the ships, no, I will say have not become better. I remember older ships having better accommodation blocks than newer ships. We used to have a big resting room with a pool inside. We used to have a pool on board the ship. A gym, small gym. Now there are boxes. Yes, everybody has its own toilet. Okay, no common toilets then. Yes, they do have internet. Yes, they do have TVs in the cabin. But we say about inclusion, but how many vessels have 2 different dressing rooms for girls and boys? Challenges. As Apostolos mentioned, high crew turnover rates. That's the big problem. And this will hit us, ladies and gentlemen, not now, but in the near future. We will not have people to man properly our offices. Who is going to be a troubleshooter if he hasn't been on board the vessel? Who is going to solve our problems? Of course, regulatory changes, this is above us, this is politicians, this is IMO, but also our industry needs, to foster synergies to try to make things better. Environmental concerns, as mentioned before, what's going to be in the future? The vessels are becoming more complex. And on the one hand, we don't have enough seafarers, and the seafarers we have are not trained enough for those technological changes. I will not go, to very complex things, but ECDIS, let's say, which is the most common one. So you send your seafarers to have an ECDIS training, which is generic and general, and then you go on board and he finds an ECDIS instrument that he doesn't know how to work with it. Is he trained? Yes, the tick box again. So I will stay in the ticking box theory, let's say, if I may say so. So there are not key takeaways, as the thing is that we have to lean upon our seafarers. We have to listen to them. We have, unfortunately or fortunately, we have to spend money on them. I understand that our industry is here to make money. This is it, yes. You have to give and have a lavish return. I understand that, and has to be. That's why the industry is here. That's why we move 90% of all cargoes globally. But, on the other hand, we need to spend in order to be able to continue doing that. And yes, autonomous shipping is not for the whole industry. It can be, let's say, in Norway, in Finland, yes. Some inland transportation, yes, but let's say in some exotic ports near the equator, I don't think so. So, having said that, I hope for all of us, for all the industry, to see seriously seafarers' issues and try seriously and tremendously about their welfare. Thank you very much.